the next session, students. In this session, we will discuss about the concept of distinction between primary, secondary and tertiary alcohols. And this distinction between primary, secondary and tertiary alcohols can also be studied under the heading identification of alcohol. If they give you a colorless liquid, by this test, we can identify the alcohol and also we can distinguish the alcohol whether it is a primary alcohol or secondary alcohol or tertiary alcohol, and identification and distinction can be done in only one test. Let us discuss about the tests. First one, Lucas reagent test. Lucas reagent is nothing but anhydrous zinc chloride plus HCl. Anhydrous zinc chloride plus HCl is called Lucas reagent. What happens? If you take tertiary alcohol and a secondary alcohol and a primary alcohol, if you take tertiary alcohol, add Lucas reagent, turbidity is formed immediately. Okay? If you take tertiary alcohol and add Lucas reagent, turbidity is formed immediately. If you take secondary alcohol and add Lucas reagent, turbidity is formed within 5 to 10 minutes. Okay? If you take primary alcohol and add Lucas reagent, turbidity is formed immediately. No turbidity is formed. No turbidity is formed. If you take tertiary alcohol, turbidity is formed immediately. If you take secondary alcohol, turbidity is formed within 5 to 10 minutes. If you take primary alcohol, no turbidity is formed. Using this Lucas reagent test, we can easily identify whether it is an alcohol or not, and in this, whether it is a primary or secondary or tertiary alcohol also can be distinguished using Lucas reagent test. Next. And in the same way, in the place of Lucas reagent test, we can also use ceric ammonium sulfate. Okay? Ceric ammonium sulfate. Ceric ammonium sulfate. Ceric ammonium sulfate acts as an oxidizing agent. Acts as an oxidizing agent and it reduces itself from cerium 4 to cerium 3 state. It gets reduced by itself. We can add ceric ammonium sulfate. So, if they are primary and secondary alcohols, they form aldehydes and ketones, and with 2,4 DNP reagent, they give orange color, whereas tertiary alcohols do not react with this. Okay, in this way we can also use ceric ammonium sulfate. And the next test is oxidation with KMnO4, right? The next test is oxidation with KMnO4. Listen students, this test is very important because in chemical properties of alcohols, they also asked about the oxidation with KMnO4 reaction. So, in your syllabus, under the chemical properties of alcohols, again you will look into the reaction oxidation with KMnO4. So, if you listen carefully, this reaction can be written for the chemical properties of alcohols also. Okay? Very important. It is repeated twice in your lesson, right? Oxidation with KMnO4. For example, take a primary alcohol, for example, ethyl alcohol, secondary alcohol, for example, isopropyl alcohol, okay, and a tertiary alcohol. For example, tertiary butyl alcohol, primary alcohol, secondary alcohol and tertiary alcohols. Okay, in primary alcohol, if you oxidized with KMnO4, in the first case hydrogens are removed because oxidation means removal of hydrogens or addition of oxygen. Okay, so you will get CH3CHO, the two hydrogen atoms are removed. You are getting acetaldehyde. Okay, this on further oxidation. In this case we are removing hydrogens, in this case we are adding oxygens. You will get CH3COOH, acetic acid. Okay, if you take secondary alcohol, isopropyl alcohol, undergoes oxidation, hydrogens are removed again, you will get ketone. You will get ketone, acetone. On further oxidation, you will get acetic acid plus formic acid. On further oxidation, you will get acetic acid plus formic acid. CH3CO, O is added from oxidation and H comes from here. Here CH2 is remaining. That CH2 again with the help of the oxygen from oxidizing agent will be converted into formic acid. If you oxidize tertiary alcohol, what happens? First elimination of water molecule takes place. OH from here, the H may be from this CH3 group or this CH3 group or this CH3 group. So you will get C double bond CH2, CH3, CH3. Okay, 2-methyl propene. Methyl propene. Okay, this on further oxidation gives 2 moles of ketone, CH3, C double bond O, CH3. 2 moles of ketones are formed like this. Okay, on further oxidation gives acid, 2 moles of acetic acid. Okay, 2 moles of acetic acid. What we observe here is starting reactant 2 carbons are taken and the product is with 2 carbons. Here in the starting reactant of secondary alcohol we have taken 3 carbons but the product is of only 2 carbons. That means we are getting 1 carbon less in secondary alcohol. If you consider tertiary alcohols, okay, in this case what happens? Reactant with 4 carbons are taken but the product with 2 carbons are obtained. This means much lesser carbons are obtained in the product than the reactant. In this way, using the KMnO4 reagent, oxidizing agent, we can distinguish between primary, secondary and tertiary alcohols. Not only KMnO4 reagent, in this case, we can also use K2Cr2O7 to distinguish between primary, secondary and tertiary alcohols. The next case. And the next test, okay students, and the next test is Victor-Meyer's test. And the next test is Victor-Meyer's test. What happens in this case? Okay, to understand, I will do Victor-Meyer test for primary, secondary and tertiary alcohols side by side. So you can easily understand. Take primary alcohol, for example CH3CH2OH, secondary alcohol, for example CH3CH3CHOH, isopropyl alcohol, and tertiary alcohol CH3CH3CH3OH. Okay, primary alcohol, secondary alcohol and tertiary alcohol. If you take primary alcohol, secondary alcohol and tertiary alcohol, Victor-Meyer's test means first you have to add phosphorus plus iodine. The OH group will be replaced by iodine group. So you will get CH3, CH2I. Okay. And again you have to add AgNO2. Here the I group is replaced by NO2. So you will get CH3, CH2, NO2. And again to this you have to add HNO2, nitrous acid. Students, to understand the reaction easily, I am writing as OH and double bond O. Is that okay? HNO2. Okay? 2 hydrogens from here and oxygen from here will get removed and you will get CH3C single bond NO2. So both these are removed. So you will get a double bond here NOH. So you will result in a blood red color solution. You will get a blood red color solution. In the same way, we have to repeat the test for secondary alcohols also. If you take P plus I2, phosphorus plus iodine, OH's group is replaced by iodine. So CH3, CHI. Okay. If you add AgNO2, then I is replaced by NO2. So CH3, CHNO2. And if you add nitrous acid, OH and double bond O, what happens, students? H from here, OH from this side will be removed and the remaining is CH3, here NO2, here what? We did not remove O as in this case. Here we got a double bond, but we removed OH because only one H is present to remove water molecule. So single bond N double bond O, which is a blue color solution. Which is a blue color solution. In this case blood red color, in this case blue color solution. Let us do the same Victor-Meyer's test for tertiary alcohols. This is tertiary butyl alcohol, right students? So CH3, first we have to add phosphorus plus iodine. OH will be replaced by I. So here we will get iodine. Okay. In the next case, this is treated with AgNO2. So I is replaced by NO2 group. So you will get CH3, NO2. And again, if you treat it with nitrous acid, no reaction is formed. Why? Because students, here if you observe, this carbon carries no protons. So that water molecule will be eliminated from nitrous acid. But here one hydrogen is there. So water molecule is being eliminated. Here also 2 hydrogens are there. Water molecule is eliminated. But in this case, no hydrogens present here to remove easily to eliminate water molecules. Hence no reaction. Victor-Meyer's test is nothing but it is an addition of a series of reagents. First you have to add phosphorus plus iodine, followed by AgNO2, followed by nitrous acid. Okay, in this way for primary alcohol blood red color solution is formed, for secondary alcohol blue color solution is formed, and for tertiary alcohol no solution is formed. This is about the distinction between primary, secondary and tertiary alcohols. In this way we can easily distinguish the alcohols by 4 tests. They are Lucas reagent test, ceric ammonium sulfate, Victor-Meyer's test, and one more students, oxidation with KMnO4. Oxidation with KMnO4. Okay students? Water molecule ROH, right? H2O. Okay, hydrogen bonding between these two. Okay, Because of the hydrogen bonding between highly polarized groups of water and alcohol, the solubility decreases. Okay. What about the melting and boiling points? Of course, the boiling points are very high for alcohols. The boiling points are very high for alcohols when you compare with alkanes. Why is it so? The boiling points of alcohols are very high when compared with alkanes, because in this case the alcohol molecules associate together again to form hydrogen bonding, which increases the boiling point of alcohols and boiling and melting points of alcohols. For example, alcohol group ROH, another alcohol, okay, ROH, alcohol, another molecule of alcohol, they get connected with hydrogen bonding. And again, if you take another alcohol, okay, again they will get connected with hydrogen bonding. Because of this hydrogen bonding, they has very high boiling and melting points. Okay, but there is an exceptional case. If there is a branching, for example, if you take isomeric alcohols, if you take tertiary butyl alcohol, isopropyl alcohol, what happens? As the branching increases, the boiling point decreases. Okay, as the branching increases, the boiling point decreases. So it follows the trend, tertiary is greater than secondary is greater than primary. This is about the physical properties of alcohols. Physical properties of alcohols, do you remember, students? You have to write about the hydrogen bonding of the solubility, and melting and boiling points are compared with alkanes. When they compared with alkanes, they have very high boiling and melting points because of the association of two alcohols molecules through a hydrogen bonding. You have to write all those things, right? Let us move into the chemical properties of alcohols. Okay, let us move into the chemical properties of alcohols. Chemical properties of alcohols are due to alcohol is ROH, right? The chemical properties of alcohol may be due to H group, or may be due to OH group, or may be due to both R and OH group. Okay, may be due to H group, may be due to OH group, and may be due to R and OH groups, right? If both R and OH groups are involved, then these reactions are known as miscellaneous reactions. Okay, if both R and OH groups are involved, then these reactions are known as miscellaneous reactions. Okay, now let us see some chemical properties. The two properties which are in your syllabus is, the two properties, chemical properties which are in your syllabus is, one is oxidation with KMnO4 and the other one is dehydration of alcohols. The other one is dehydration of alcohols. Okay, students, one is oxidation with KMnO4, the other one is dehydration of alcohols, right? First, I have already told in the starting of this session is that please remember the equation of distinction between primary and secondary tertiary alcohol. I told the equation oxidation with KMnO4. I have already discussed. Now this can be used as chemical property. So this has been discussed. Okay, you have to write 2 times. If they ask an identification of alcohols, you should write the same equation, and this can be used for the chemical property also. I discussed it, no students. Primary alcohol gives same number of carbon atoms. secondary alcohol gives 1 carbon less than the reactant, and tertiary alcohols gives much lesser carbons than the reactant. And the second chemical property is dehydration of alcohols. The second chemical property is dehydration of alcohols. Let us discuss that. Dehydration of alcohols. Dehydration of alcohols. Okay. If you take primary alcohol, for example, CH3CH2OH, it is treated with concentrated sulfuric acid at 200 degrees C or Al2O3 aluminium trioxide at 300 degrees C. What happens? You will get an alkene. You will get alkene. Dehydration. The word itself says removal of water. Okay. The word itself says removal of water. Dehydration means we have to remove the water. So CH3CH2OH, water has been removed, you get a alkene. In this case you got ethene. Right? This is about primary alcohol. Right? What about if you take a secondary alcohol? Secondary alcohol. CH3, CH2, CH, CH3. This is, what is the name of this, students? 2-butanol. The OH group is in the second position, so it is called as 2-butanol. If you take in the presence of concentrated sulfuric acid, what happens? Water has to be removed. Okay. OH will be removed from here. If hydrogen is removed from here, you will get a double bond right here. So we will write CH3, CH, double bond CH, CH3. If the OH group is removed from here, why the hydrogen has to be removed from here only? It can be removed from here also, right? If it is removed from here, you will get a double bond right here. If you remove from this carbon, what happens? You will get a double bond here. You will get CH3, CH2, CH, okay, double bond CH2. In this case, you got a double bond here. Here in this case, you got a double bond here, and in this case, you double bond here. So this is 2-butene and this one is 1-butene. But the 2-butene which is formed is the major product. Why is it so? Because of the Sage-Jeffs rule. We use Sage-Jeffs rule here. Sage-Jeffs rule means the more substituted double bonded carbon is the major product and the less substituted double bonded carbon is the minor product. This is about secondary alcohol, students. Let us see about tertiary alcohol. Let us see about tertiary alcohols, right? For example, if you take butyl alcohol, CH3, CH3OH, tertiary butyl alcohol. If you had sulfuric acid for that, concentrated sulfuric acid, what happens? Water will be removed. Okay, dehydration means removal of water by the addition of concentrated sulfuric acid. So the OH group will be removed from here. The hydrogen may be removed from this carbon or this carbon or this carbon. Will give you the same product. I am removing from this carbon. You will get CH3C double bond CH2 CH3. Okay, the name of this compound is, in the second position, methyl group is present and 3 carbons are present. So the name becomes 2-methyl prop. So double bond propene, right? So 2-methyl propene is formed. If you take alcohols and add concentrated sulfuric acids, dehydration takes place and alkenes are formed. Okay students, let us discuss about the mechanism involved. Let us discuss about the mechanism involved here. So, mechanism of dehydration of alcohols. The mechanism of dehydration of alcohols involve 3 steps, students. The first step is protonation of alcohol. Okay, I am not writing completely, write it down. Protonation of alcohol. And the second step is removal of water molecule, and the third step is formation of alkene, and the third step is formation of alkene. So, addition of concentrated sulfuric acid to alcohols compulsory follow this mechanism of 3 steps: protonation, removal of water, and formation of alkene. For example, if you take CH2OH, okay, butyl alcohol, okay, normal butyl alcohol. What happens? In the first step, what we have to do, students? Protonation. This mechanism is very important for short answer questions, students. Please listen carefully, right? So, you will get CH3, CH2, CH2, CH2 plus. Here, the proton will attack OH group. Okay, protonation will be done OH2. That is first step. Second step, after protonation, water molecule is removed. H2O will come out. So, the carbon will carry positive charge. So, carbocation is formed. Carbocation is formed. In this case, the rearrangement may occur. Okay, since it is a primary carbocation, it undergoes rearrangement to form more stabilized carbocation. So, CH3, CH2, CH2, CH plus CH3. How I got this, students? Here the plus charge shifts here and the hydrogen shifts here. Rearrangement. So since the hydrogen shifts here, it becomes CH and it becomes CH3. Here the plus charge shifts here. Okay. To stabilize, to form more stable carbocation. In this case, it is a primary carbocation. Whereas in this case, it is a secondary carbocation. Right? Secondary carbocation. Right? What happens? So, protonation is completed, removal of water is completed, formation of alkene. So, this hydrogen will be removed to form a double bond and for the cancellation of plus charge. I will show you clearly. CH2 can be written like this, no? So, this bond shifts like here and the proton is removed. In the first case, proton is added. Last case, in the formation of alkene, deprotonation, proton is removed. So, the bond comes here. So, you will get CH3, CH2, CH double bond CH2, 1 butene. Whereas here, the proton will be removed from here. Okay. The proton will come from here. So, you will get CH3, CH double bond CH, CH3. So, this will be major product, which is 2-butene, and this will be minor product, which is 1-butene. This will be major product, 2-butene, and this will be minor product, 1 butene. Okay students, this follows Sage-Jeff's rule because more substituted double bonded carbon will be the major product, less substituted double bonded carbon will be the minor product. What is more substituted double bond? Here 2 hydrogens are substituted, but here only 1 hydrogen is substituted, remaining 3 hydrogens are present, whereas here 2 hydrogens are substituted, only 2 hydrogens are present. Okay students, so this is about the dehydration of alcohols and its mechanism. Okay, next topic, what happens if you dehydrate alcohols at different temperatures? What happens if you dehydrate alcohols at different temperatures? Okay, CH through CH2OH. What is the name of this alcohol students? Ethyl alcohol. What is the name of this alcohol students? Ethyl alcohol. If you dehydrate with concentrated sulfuric acid at 110 degrees centigrade, what happens? CH will combine C2H5HSO4 is formed. Ethyl hydrogen sulfate is formed. Ethyl hydrogen sulfate is formed. Okay. If you take concentrated sulfuric acid at 110 degrees centigrade, in earlier case we have taken it at 200 and 300 degrees centigrade. So what happens if you take it 110 degrees centigrade? Ethyl hydrogen sulfate is formed. Okay, this ethyl hydrogen sulfate at 140 degrees centigrade, at 170 degrees centigrade, and what happens when distilled under reduced pressure? What happens when distilled under reduced pressure? Okay, when ethyl hydrogen sulfate is treated at 140 degrees centigrade, 170 degrees centigrade and distilled under reduced pressure. At 140 degrees centigrade, diethyl ether is formed. Diethyl ether is formed. Whereas at 170 degrees centigrade, alkene is formed. At higher temperatures, alkenes are formed, students. And when it is distilled under reduced pressure, what happens? Can you guess the product, students? When it is distilled under reduced pressure, C2H5 taken 2 times SO4, diethyl sulfate is formed. So diethyl sulfate is formed. Not only at higher temperatures, what happens if you take alcohol at 110 degrees centigrade, ethyl hydrogen sulfate? The formed ethyl hydrogen sulfate under different temperatures, 140 you will get diethyl ether, 170 you will get alkene, and under distilled under reduced pressure you will get diethyl sulfate. You will get diethyl sulfate. Okay students, this is about the chemical properties of alcohols. Now let us move into the next concept. What happens when you compare alcohol with phenol? What happens when you compare alcohol with acid and phenol? So we will take alcohol here, ROH, alcohol, and an acid, RCOOH, acid, and phenol. Okay, phenol. Phenol we know now, studied in this starting of these sessions. OH group is directly attached to the benzene ring is called phenol. Right, what happens? Alcohols are neutral substances. When you compare the acidity between alcohol, acid and phenol, alcohols are neutral substance. They are not acidic. Of course, carboxylic acids are acidic, whereas phenols are weakly acidic, right? Phenols are weakly acidic. Why is it so? Okay, if you take carboxylic acid, to become acidic, we have to remove proton. So, minus H plus, you will get RCOO minus, right? Using RCOO minus, RC double bond O minus, and this minus charge may come onto this oxygen and this double bond shifts here to form a resonance stabilized structure. You will get RCO minus double bond O. Okay, and totally the structure will be RCOO. Okay, resonance stabilized structures are formed when proton is removed. Okay, what happens when in alcohol? If you take alcohol and remove proton, you form RO minus. Alkoxide ion is formed, which do not undergo any resonance stabilization. Why phenol is weakly acidic? When you take H plus from phenol, you will get phenoxide ion. You will get phenoxide ion. But that phenoxide ion will have resonating stabilization structures like this. If you take phenoxide ion, O minus, right? Minus charge comes here and the bond shifts as the minus charge. Okay. Double bond O here, minus charge here, and a bond. Again these two electrons becomes a bond here and this bond shifts here. Okay. Then double bond O here and a bond here, minus charge here. Okay. Next, this minus charge becomes a bond here. Okay, this minus charge becomes a bond here and the bond becomes a minus charge. Right, you will get a minus charge here and a resonating structure. And finally, by last structure, you will get phenoxide ion. So, the phenol forms this many resonating structures. Of course, it does not have acid group, but it acts as weakly acidic when compared to acid. I am comparing with acid, that's why it is weakly acidic. If you compare it with alcohol, it is acidic. Okay, if when you compare with alcohol only without acid, then it is acidic because of the resonance stabilization structures formed in this case. Resonance stabilization structures which are formed in the case of phenol. And this phenoxide ion, this phenol, we have two cases. To study about the acidity of phenol, we have two cases. The case is that if you have an electron releasing groups in addition to that, what happens? If you have an electron withdrawing group in addition to that, okay, on the ring, if you have an electron releasing group, what happens? If you have an electron withdrawing group, what happens? Electron releasing groups increases electron density, okay, electron density, hence it gets stabilized. The proton cannot be left. In this case, the proton cannot be left as easily. If electron releasing groups are released, more electron density will be released onto the oxygen which does not leave the H atom. Whereas, if electron withdrawing groups are present, they withdraw electrons from the ring. So, the bond between OH becomes weakened and the H plus can be easily removed. So, electron releasing groups decreases the acidity of phenol, whereas electron withdrawing groups increases the acidity of phenol. So, what happens, students, when you compare acid, alcohol and phenol? Phenol is weakly acidic. Alcohol is most acidic, then phenol, then finally alcohol. Acid is more acidic, then phenol, finally alcohol. When you compare only alcohol and phenol, phenol is more acidic. So acidity order, very important. Carboxylic acid is more acidic. Next comes phenol and finally alcohol, which is a neutral substance. If they ask to compare, you have to write about the resonating structures of acid, resonating structures of no resonating structures, right? Resonating structures of phenol. What happens if electron releasing group is present? What happens if electron withdrawing group is present? Thank you very much, students.